Good morning. Good morning. We'll wait for everything to start coming up here, and there we are. Well, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, and right now I'm the only one watching. So we'll wait for a few people to get in here, and so I'm not talking to myself all the time. Usually takes about 3 minutes before we start getting a crowd in here. So we'll see what happens a couple days after New Year's. Ah, there's a second person in here. Good. Good morning. You're in here with me. So please say something in the chat if you would, just to say hi or something, so I know you're. Oh, they left again. Well, I had one person and they left. This happens some days. Some days you get 100,000 people of viewers, and then other days you get 300. So we'll see. Ah, here we are. Hey, Mr. Wilson. Good to see you, sir. I'm just waiting for a few people to come in here. So right now it's just you and me. I'm assuming you heard about Robert G. Passing, and we're going to be having that thing later today with Ryan about that. But what's the plan for today? Well, I'll show you. Although I might be repeating myself later. I've got some juniper here. Very, very hard. If you look at this grain, it's very, very, very hard, very solid. This is like about 7 pounds, and it's not wet. It's just very, very dense grain. And I'm going to turn it 2 ways. You can see how wavy it is on this one. The light catches it right. So I'm going to turn it 2 different ways and see which way works best. Kind of be going into the grain on one and kind of away from the grain on the other. So we'll see how that goes. Because it is so hard, you never know. So okay, I'm going to. Morning, hi Jesse. Good to see you. So it's 6 o'clock in the morning here. I don't know where it is where you guys are at. I know where it is where Michael Wilson's at. It's midday actually for him, afternoon. But we're going to be turning some 2 different pieces of wood here today, or maybe more. We'll see. I guess take my watch off, and we'll see how it goes. It's I got something else to show you too before we get started. I'm gonna have to clear off my work area here to do it. So give me just a second here to clear this out, and I'll show you what else I've got in the works. Okay. Can you let's see if I can focus the camera in over here. I really don't want to lift that. I really don't want to lift this. This is a big, as you can see, compared to everything else there, that is a big piece of cork oak that was slabbed off of a tree recently. This is about 23 inches by 22, 23 inches. And I'm going to be cutting that down some because it's thin on this far end. It's pretty thin. So I'm going to be cutting it right about here. And then I don't know if I'm going to be able to get, because it's about 3.5 inches thick here, I'm going to have to see what I can get. I might be able to get a bowl and a platter out of each side. This is the pith, and it is cracking right along the pith, so I'm going to have to cut it right here. And I can probably make a bowl out of this and maybe a small platter out of this part here. So I'm thinking of getting, if I can, get 4 pieces out of that that giant piece of wood. But that's coming here in a few days. I got to get it cut down first, and I'll tell you what, that thing weighs a lot. It's a pretty big piece of wood. So you may be able to be, you may be picking up a sponsor. That's great. That's terrific. What kind is this? Is this another one with a Scotch company, or is this something else, or tool company? A pen company. Wow, good for you. Yeah, I haven't really pursued the sponsorships too much or anything like that. I've just been, I'm here for you guys. I'm not here for the sponsorships. But if I could get sponsorships that would maybe give you guys some discounts or something, I'm all in for that. I've gotten a few tools donated to me by a couple tool companies, but nothing as dramatic as getting a sponsorship or anything. So, congratulations. That's really good. Yeah, make sure you read the fine print. That's all I got to say. Read the fine print. Hey, for those of you that are in here, please do hit the like button, and if you would subscribe, because we are barely at 4,000 subscribers. I mean, like 4,000 subscribers, and we actually had more than that. But what happens is YouTube goes back and reviews the people that sign up as subscribers, and if they don't meet certain criteria, they erase them. So where I had 403 the other day after our live, it dropped down to 4,000. I had a couple other people sign on afterwards, which brought it back up, and a couple others got taken off. So as they edit over a course of days, you see your numbers fluctuate up and down. But right now we are at exactly 4,000 as of last night, and so we could use the extra um, subscribers, and of course we always like to have some likes on here too. Lets us know that we're doing something that you enjoy watching. So please do that. Okay, I'm going to we're going to get started. This is a piece of juniper, and it's very tight grained. It has a lot of weaving in the grain, as you can see here. It's very weird grain. It's chalking this way. Here it's waving this way. So, but it's also waving this way. So I'm not sure exactly how we're going to end up with the end grain here, or how hard that's going to be. But I know that juniper is notoriously hard wood. So hopefully you can hear me okay. That's okay. That's okay, Tim. We're all here. I had trouble getting up this morning myself. So uh, getting up and getting moving are two different things. I haven't even had my coffee yet today. Let's see how balanced we are. We're pretty balanced. That's good. Let's see what happens when we attack this thing. Okay. Now, notice something there. When I was taking the first turn of this, I was getting up to here and I stopped. I went back and I went and got a second turn. When I got up to here, it was too thick for it to cut through easily because it's hard wood. So you really need to take delicate cuts. That's why I went ahead and did a slight cut here. Just takes a little bit of it off. I'll be able to come back, ride the bevel. And one of the things you want to do when you're riding the bevel, one of the things to understand when you're riding the bevel is as you come this way, you have a tendency to arc out away from the things. You need to be moving your body, not the not just the tool. You want to be moving the body with the tool like this, not turning it like this. Because when you turn like this, you end up with less taken off down up this at this end. So here. Okay, so let's continue to round out this piece. Okay, now I can move the tool rest in a little bit closer. Okay, we don't want to have a gap there where this falls down in. And remember the ABCs we talked about before. You want to anchor it to the rest. You want to engage the bevel, right? That's the B. And then you want to cut. You don't want to come in here like this or do this. You want to make sure you're there. Your bevel's at the right angle. You're pointing upward. Then you go across, okay? So I hope that helps some of you out there. And if you're not getting a good cut, turn the angle just a little bit. I can feel a difference in the wood in certain places too. Okay, so now that I got it around, now I can turn up the speed a little bit. We still have our flat spots, of course, but now we can turn it up and not have as much travel with the wood. Tried to dig a little too much there. I got my angle off just a little bit. It seems to be a little bit harder right here because this is where the pith was. It's a little bit harder here than it is here. So as I'm going, I'm kind of getting a little bit off my line there. I got to be careful with that. We can move up again. Okay. It's all a learning curve. You're absolutely right. And don't be intimidated by it. Start with the slow speed. I mean, look, you can do this. This is about the slowest speed it goes, around 324, right? You can do this, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to be coming in like this because it goes bang, 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 right? You come in from the side, coming up, and it'll chug along. Not very quickly, but it'll chug along. So you pick up the speed about 3 times what that speed was. It actually smooths it out. So instead of it being more intimidating, it's actually a little less shocking because it's coming around so fast it doesn't have a chance to chatter and bounce. The other thing is when I talk about anchoring, anchor it right here on that rest. Keep your rest close, but anchor it down and you're the only thing this hand is doing is pushing down on this. It's not you're not dragging with it or anything. The job of this hand is to be like this, and it's to be right here just behind the tool rest. Your fingers never go on the other side of the tool rest, right here. So right there, there's very little chance of it bouncing much, and you got total control. The rest of it is up here against your hip. So those are the little safety tips I can tell you that will eliminate a little bit of that intimidation. And I will say one other thing. Yes, sometimes you will end up with a splinter or two in your hand here, but actually most turners kind of develop a callus, sort of like you get a callus when you're playing guitar. Not a bad callus, but it does get a little tougher here. And so, you'll have that. And again, by having the tool rest here, that keeps this thing from flying off and hitting you a little bit too, because it's at right about even in the middle. I've got it secure on his end. I could even put the tailstock up against this side too, if that was something that you thought would be useful. Okay. What's that say? I'm still shopping for a lathe myself, but I will buy one when my shop gets built. Well, there you go, Tim. Well, Tim, sometimes you have to get the equipment so that you will build the shop. It depends on what the motivation is either way. But yeah, it's a good idea to make sure you know how much room you have for a lathe, so what kind of size lathe can you get? What can you afford? And what fits in your shop? And I always tell people, lathes are one of those things where you don't have to buy the biggest or the best. You have to buy the one that will accomplish the most tasks with the size of things you think you're going to turn. If you don't have access to pieces of wood bigger than 8 inches, then you only need a MIDI lathe. A MIDI lathe will handle and anything up to a 12. This will handle up to a 12-inch depth or piece of wood. Okay, 12-inch piece of wood. That's 6 below and 6 above center line. So I find that I have very little use. I find that I have very little use for a lathe that is bigger than this one, but I could buy an extension for it, and I also have an outboard here. I can drop it over on this side. I can do 15 inches. So I got up to a 15-inch bowl. That is intimidating. It is scary to turn a 15-inch bowl, I will tell you. When that thing's turning at 1,000 RPM or something like that, it really looks like a giant wheel turning at 1,000 RPM. So I'd say a MIDI is perfectly fine, and you can get those in a range of prices from, I'd say between $600 and $1,000. You can get a really good one. If you can find a used one, you might be able to get it for $200 or $300. Okay, so now we are. Stop. We still got this flat spot here. I still got to go down some, but I'm starting to get in on this side. Not quite there on this side, so I wasn't perfectly in the center. Even just being a little bit off in the center when you put your plate on or whatever you're using to attach, it makes a big difference. Okay, we're starting to get that shape in there a little bit now. Now I can start thinking about shape. Well, I see I've got a couple of they don't look like they're going to be real deep, but there are some little cracks right here. Again, that's near the center of the wood, and so they're near the pith. So I'm not too concerned about them, but I do need to control them or keep an eye on them. So I'm going to I might dig this out a little bit. I don't know. Let's see. Let's see if we can do that. Okay. Yeah. See now that's what that's revealing. You can see this right here. It is revealing a crack. Now I don't think it's too deep, but it might be. So that's why that a little exploratory cut taught me a lot about what I'm getting into here. Okay. So we may need to rethink shapes or whatever. So I'm going to just continue to do that little undercut. Just to see what that looks like. And it looks like that goes all the way to about here. Okay. I'll contemplate that a bit, but I'm getting the round there. So let me get the round going. A little bit of the flat there, the flat there. We're just about round. See, it doesn't take very long doing this technique of coming from the bottom and just pushing through. It really doesn't take long. Ah, that's I was afraid that was going to break off there a little bit. Okay, well, that's not a problem. Yeah, that is a little bit of an issue here. So I think I'm going to try and treat this. Let me take my helmet off for a minute. I think we're going to try and treat this before we go any further, just so it has a chance to work in there. We're going to put a little bit of of thin CA glue. If I can get the lid off, we're going to put a little CA glue in here first. And while you're watching this, please, if you can, please hit the like button and subscribe, if you would. Really appreciate that. We could use some more subscribers. We got 4,000, which is terrific for. We've only been on here since May, so in about 7 months we've gotten to 4,000 subscribers, which is pretty darn good. I'm going to put a little of this in there with the CA glue. Put a little more CA glue on there. Kind of saturate that a little bit. And yeah, I know I'm kind of creating a false knot hole is what I'm kind of doing here. And it may not all hold. It very well may not hold, actually. But it's a good experiment here. So I'm just taking some of the shavings. That's why you don't just get rid of all your shavings right away. Okay. I have a friend who uses coffee grounds. Yeah, I can smell the glue working in there. Whew. He uses coffee grounds and he puts them there, and it adds a nice color to it. And he says that that he's been using it for years. I've never really tried coffee grounds. I think that's probably a really good idea. So if you have some old coffee grounds, you might try that next time for filling in some of your little holes or cracks. What the heck? Give it a try, right? Okay, now I'm going to put a little wood glue over the top of this. And sometimes that reacts with the regular glue. So I got to be kind of careful with that, or with the CA glue, I should say. Sometimes they react to each other. So you want to be not breathing real deep while you're doing this. Okay? I'm just going to push that in there real good. And then we're going to rub it off. The nice thing about using these shavings is they also absorb some of the liquid from the glue, and it allows it to dry quicker and kind of fill in there. Okay. As you notice, we have a really nice hard surface here. We still have a little bit more to go. Boy, that flat just really doesn't want to come off, does it? So we're going to have to go through that. We're going to have to fix this trim on the edge here. Yeah. So let's one piece at a time here. Okay. And thank you all for being here today. I do appreciate it. I hope you're having a good new year. I see we only have about 15 likes so far, but we got 200 people in here, so, or 300 people almost. So if you could please hit that like button or double tap the screen, that would be most appreciated. If you haven't heard, we lost one of our good friends. Different colored, yeah. Keeping a different colored dust, that's really a good thing to do. I even keep some extra bark laying around if I'm trying to fix a bark problem, a little bark problem on a piece of wood. You can't sometimes tell from one tree to the other. Anyway, I was going to say we lost one of our friends here that was friends of the channel, Robert G, the other day. Unfortunately, he passed away just before Christmas on December 22nd, and we are going to be having a little memorial meeting on YouTube here, or I'm sorry, on StreamYard later today. Yeah, I guess it'll be in YouTube. And Ryan put that together from 77 Rockets, but there'll be a few of us on just talking about our friend and what he meant to us, and trying to raise a little bit of money for the family because he was only 47 years old when he passed. And it was all of a sudden, it was very, very quick. He was talking to me on one of these lives just I think like 3-4 days before. and then all of a sudden he passed away. So yeah, we were all a little shocked on New Year's Day when we found out about this, and so we're doing a little tribute at noon Pacific time today. And if you get a chance to watch that, please come on and watch it. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So, and thank you again to Ryan for putting that together for us. You should check out Ryan's channel or Mike at the Whacking Shack. Check out Mike Wilson here too. Mike Wilson's starting to put some videos together, I'm hoping. Ah, lost it right there at the end. Whew. Sorry, I'm getting a few of those fumes that came up through my mask from the glue here. Oh, now that crack comes all the way down into here. It gives me a little bit of concern when we go inside, but well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Oh, I'm getting some nice chatoyance though. Just about got all that out of there. Look at this. This grain is like wavy like this. It's really interesting. So we shall see what we shall see. Another light cut, I think. Just take it all off. Okay, so that's the one side. That's the other side. It is filled in a little more, but I'm going to have to put some more glue in there, I think. And we've got rid of all the flat spots. Good. So we're heading in the right direction. We are heading in the right direction. Now I see this crack comes all the way down here, and down here, and down here. And we hope that we don't get that on the inside. Hoop, 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 hoop. We'll get that on the inside. So put a little bit more on here. And when you have straight cracks like that, really kind of push this down in this time. And we rub across the grain like this. So they practically go away. Not completely, not all together, but I'm going to let that dry for a minute while I work on the back end of this, okay? And then we'll come back around and straighten out the rest. But we're going to work on the back end of this for a minute. And I think I'm going to have to lower my rest just a little bit. Right about there, that looks good. Yep, a little bit off, so there we go. All right, so how far off is this? I think I need to lower my tool rest just a little bit more. There we go. Now I'm at the right angle. Boy, is that hard in the center. Whew. It doesn't want to come out. All right. So I'm going to take my skew. I'm using just the heel here. Taking off little places at a time. And then we can run it across. And we should be just about flat. Yeah, that's real good. I'm not even sure I see any light through there. I'll go with this one too. Real close. Real close. Just give a little bit of refinement to it. I think we'll be good to go. Let's see now. Take a look at that now. Okay, I think we are in good shape. We now have a flat bottom. We can go to making our tenon. And I think our tenon will start right about here. Go in. And come across this way. And then we're going to have to come out further. So I just wanted to get that started. And let's see just how far out do I want to come with this. Probably, okay, right out to about there. I'm going to go right about there. And smooth the center out. Okay, see how good we're at here. All right, need to close this up first. That would help. Fits right in there. Good. Okay, so now I got my size. Just want to clean it up just a hair. Make sure I've got a little indent, little dovetail there. That's the dovetail. Don't want to make it any deeper than they need to be. Okay. Clean the top up just in case. One more chance to clean the top. Okay. This looks pretty clean. That fits in there good. All right. I think we got a tenon. That's all there is to making a tenon. It really is not that hard. So what do we got here? Let's see. Read the comments here. Yeah, 14 is the length, right? And remember, when you're talking about like a 14-inch piece, you have to account for the fact that you've got a tail here too, which can be pulled in and out. So where you may have 16 inches from here to the end, you may not actually have 16 inches if you're going to use your tail piece. So consider that too. And if you aren't going to have something, you need something that's supporting out there. You could use a, well, you could use this, something like this on the outside edge, which is called a steady rest, and that would hold a long thin piece out to here, no problem. It would keep it from just falling off because it would keep it centered and round, and it does keep it from wobbling. So a steady rest is a real helpful tool. Also, if you're going to make a long thin piece, but not too many people make bats. You might make a rolling pin, and 16 inches is more than enough room for a rolling pin. So yeah. Okay, so now I've had the chance for this to dry off just a little bit. In fact, that's already kind of hard. It's not hard underneath, but it'll be hard enough for us to at least do the finishing here. So I like to put my tools away when I do this, so I don't have to. By the way, when I was doing this, I was using a spindle gouge. This is one of the few things you can use a spindle gouge for. Is something like this. You don't want to do it on a big piece of wood while you're spinning big pieces because it's too small of a tool for that. But it's perfect for that kind of work. Now we still need to smooth this out, and because it's kind of wavy on the top, so we're going to get you kind of over here a little bit more so you can see a little better. Maybe the approach here, okay? And don't duck if things come flying at you. But let's see what we can do here. We're going to try and use a scraper here just to kind of take off some of the highlights. I'll go around this top. That's already taken off. And there's a lot of tools you can use for this. You can use a skew. You can use a skew. You can use a negative rake scraper. This happens to be one that I made for myself. This is mostly, I use it mostly on the inside, but you can use a negative rake scraper. And it's only picking up where there's a high spot. All right. And you like to have a little bit of a curved bottom there too. Okay, still got a little bit of a hump. So we will, I think I'll use my other bull nose scraper here. Has a little different angle to it. Let's see if that can have a better effect on it. I don't know if it can. This is, as I said, this is really hard wood. It's really soft right there. And it's getting much, much better. I can still feel a little bit of a hump. So we will go to this. which is another type of skew. This one I can lay it up at an angle. And because it has a broad blade, it will show you where the high points are. And it'll scrape those away. You want to be very careful. You never want to get the, you never want this tip to be going in. You always want the cutting to be in this back third or 2/3 of the blade on a skew. Never the tip. You only use the tip if you're trying to go in to make a direct, like a line cut or something. But you never want to engage it otherwise, because it will rip it right out of your hands and cause major difficulty. Always be watching that front tip. Make sure you're engaging the heel. Okay, that's much better. Okay. And when I'm doing this, I'm looking up here all the time. I'm not looking down here where the blade, I mean, I'm watching the blade, but I'm looking up here to watch the profile. So as it's spinning. So I think we got that. Look how this has come out now. This part here that we were worried about is looking pretty good, and it's looking pretty solid. So I don't think we'll have much trouble on the inside. Fingers crossed. Okay. But again, please hit that like button. I hope I'm taking the wife out to breakfast. No, actually, when I left, she was still in bed, but yeah, she'll have to feed the cat. I don't know if breakfast is in our plans this morning or not, to be honest with you. I mean, we have a International House of Pancakes right up the street. We actually have quite a few restaurants right near us. We're very near the downtown of the suburban town that we are in. So I got it's really kind of neat. When we bought this house, we are 1 mile from Lowe's and about 2 miles from Home Depot. And there's also an Ace Hardware store in there too. So I got 3 good places to get any tools or any materials that I need. There's also a major lumber yard about 1 mile away from me. There's a movie theater within not even a mile of our house, and a shopping center about a mile away, and about 5 grocery stores, and probably 15 or 20 restaurants within a mile, and a school and a park. So it's a really great location for all that. But you'd like to look around the American big box stores? Yeah, well, I'll tell you, we may have more. Costco may have more Scotch than Scotland does. I don't know. Uh, you go to a Costco, and man, especially at that time of year, around the holidays, and their liquor aisles are huge. But yeah, Michael, if you ever get to the United States, I hope you come this direction, because I would love to show you around. We are only about an hour or so from Yosemite, about an hour and a half from Yosemite. We're about an hour from the giant sequoias, which are the biggest redwood tree. Well, actually, some of the biggest trees in the entire world are just an hour away from our house here. So yeah, it's a pretty nice area for that. Unfortunately, all of this is in California. So that's the downside of all of it. We're in California. So, okay. Well, anyway, let me get this sanding going so we can get this piece of wood turned. Otherwise, we're going to be here all day. So, I'm going to turn the speed up on this to about 1,000. So, 1,100. Now, let me put my dust collector on here. There we go. And we can stand a little here. This is not going to take a lot of heavy sanding, because I think it's such a hard wood, it's going to accept it pretty well. Now I'm going to put it in reverse, and that's one thing I would recommend anybody getting a lathe. If you can't afford it, get a lathe with a reverse. You will never regret it, because having a reverse just allows you so much more flexibility for things like sanding. And where a reverse comes in handy is when you're sanding the other way, you're getting that grain going both directions in the wood. Now this is the end grain. I'm going to give it a little extra help here. Even as all that sanding, I can still feel it's a little bit rough. Side grain is beautiful. It even has some nice color to it. It's very subtle. Here's the end grain again. And that'll be it for this one. Well, that already feels just really nice. That's going to be a nice feeling wool, I can tell. Now we'll do a little, leave it in reverse for a moment. Do this. And pick it up a little bit more. The reason I like to do the outside while I've still got the faceplate on here is because that way, you don't have to be worrying about anything flying off at high speeds or anything like that. It's quite, it's fully supported. It's not going anywhere. You don't put any pressure on the sandpaper. Let the sandpaper do all the work. Don't put any pressure at all on that. You can see it's already shining almost, and that's only at 120 grit. This is 120 grit. And it's got a shine to it. Okay. And please, if you'd be so kind as to subscribe to our channel, I'd really appreciate it. We have over 200 videos up here. Some of them are live, but some of them are just instructional videos. A lot of them are very short. Just little short videos to kind of help you in your woodworking and wood turning. That's what started this channel. And if you really like a little more in depth, you can watch the shorts, but if you watch the other ones, the regular videos that are a little more in depth, they're maybe 5 minutes long. They're not very long videos, most of them. So maybe 5 minutes or so. And on a lot of different subjects, a lot of things that I use here in the shop. And I think you'd really enjoy some of them. We do a little extra attention to that area that we put the glue in. And I think that's the end of that sanding part. That's what we're going to have to do to that. The inside is going to be the interesting part, because this hard wood like this, doing the inside is going to be a challenge of sorts. Okay. So let me get this wiped off a little bit. And I think I'm going to run the vacuum over it just once too, just to try and get stuff out of the pores a little before we start putting a finish on it. Okay? Just bear with me on here a second. You don't want to get that wood, the stuff in the wood pores, because it muddies up the finish. And making sure the surface is nice and clean before you start putting your finishes on will really help. Along here, let me show this off. Yeah, I know. Watching me sand and vacuum is not the most exciting thing in the world, but it is part of the process. All right, now we're going to get to the finish part. We get to see what this looks like with some finish on it. I know we lost a few viewers, but they'll come back. Let's put some of this on here. And this is not going to absorb very deep, I don't think, because it is, yeah, it's going to go into the end grain a little bit, and that's about it. Let me see if I can get a brush on it. It will darken only because that's what wood does when it gets wet. But that darkness will go away once it dries a little, and this will lighten up. Okay. Get a little on this side. And I can already see some spots where it sucks it in faster than others. So you know that's the places where there's really exposed grain, because end grain is where it will go in first. Okay. You see the difference between that and the end here. And all this is going to do is just go into the wood fibers, and it will dry, and it will harden, and it will strengthen the wood fibers. It's as if they need any strengthening. They're already pretty strong, but this will just help bind them together a little bit better. Okay, that's the bottom. I'm going to put another little coat on here in the dry spots. That means that it's still sucking it in. When it stops sucking it in, that means it's full and it's ready to be brushed out and polished. So this is just tung oil with a little citrus oil added in, and a little bit of mineral oil. But it's mostly just plain 100% pure tung oil with no additives. It is food safe. Although I will usually finish this with some sort of beeswax finish also. But yes, I'm painting that wood. Yeah. So anyway, if you have any questions, please put them here in the comment section. I'd love to answer anything you got. And Tim, if you need anything, just let me know too. Yeah, it is Juniper. It is Juniper, as far as I know, it is. I'm not the one that sourced this wood. This actually came from a gentleman who passed away, and his wife gave the wood to our wood turning group, and so it was painted over with latex or oil-based paint. I'm not sure which, but so it had paint on it, and there was no. He had not written on any of it to say what it was, which is kind of a pain. I usually, when I am storing wood away, I write on it because I don't trust my memory to remember what it was that I cut down or processed. So anyway, so there we go. That's a couple coats. I'll I'll brush that out a little bit right here with the not brush it out. I mean polish it out a little bit with a old sock, basically. Okay. So what do you think? What do you think of that? Is that pretty nice? And I'm just leaving it pretty straight. I think it's it's going to be fine. It doesn't need to be. I find that when you have something that looks really good, when the wood looks really good, I try not to do too much with the design unless I have to, because I want the wood to be the star of the show, not what I did with the design. Now, if I have a rather plain piece of wood, say a piece of oak or something that doesn't have much going for it, that's when I will do different shapes, or I'll do a hollowed out bowl or something like that. But I tend not to do that so much with something that has a really nice, interesting finish on the outside, because it kind of can take away from it a little bit, or it can warp the look of it. So just going to give that a little buff, and we'll turn this thing around. Well, we've dropped off a few people. Okay, well, guys, that's not the end of this. Is not the end. This is just the not even the halfway point, quite honestly. We're only about 60% of the way there. There we go. Because now we have the fun, and this is the dangerous part. You guys were talking about earlier. Okay, this is going to be the dangerous part. Not the screws. That's an easy part. But the dangerous part is once you have a relatively less. I mean, look how this was supported. This was supported with 8 screws in the wood. Oops. So it was not going anywhere. Okay. Now they were only 1-inch screws, roughly. They're not really long screws. And I love using the square head, or Roberts, I think it's called. They don't slip out as much. It engages well with the screwdriver, with the drill. Always use stainless steel screws. Never drywall screws. Make sure you're using wood screws. But stainless steel screws, especially for this, because I don't know about you, but I have had screws that broke off in here, and you talk about a hard time like that. That's what happens. And even with a hardened screw, that will happen sometimes. So somewhere down in there is a screw bit that we're going to have to remove. So just as I'm saying it, sure enough, it happens. Now, what could have happened is it might have twisted and broken when I was putting it in. I don't know. But we now have a screw down in there that we're going to encounter at some point, and we don't want to damage our tool. So we're going to have to be listening for that. That complicates things a little. That complicates things a little bit, but we will deal with it when we get there. Okay, and let me see how that's turning. Oh yeah, real nice. Okay, good. All right, so I can tighten that here, tighten that here. Don't want it over tightened. Okay. Now, I think, based on what just happened there, I think what I might do is I might use the Forstner bit with the tailstock this time. I don't like doing this usually, but I think this might be the time that we do that. So bear with me while I get my Forstner bit out and take off this, take this out of my tailstock. And I guess I can take my helmet off for now because I'm not going to need it. And let's see, get my chuck. Got the chuck. Okay. One chuck. Now let me go get my Forstner bit. And we will see if we can proceed to take out some of this wood. And we may have to do it in two sections. I might have to do it. May have to do it with this one first. Let's see if we can do that. And I know you can't see what I'm doing, so let me back out here just a little bit. There we go. Okay, this is a Forstner bit. Forstner bits are made for making holes with flat bottoms. Is what they are essentially made for. These gears don't always tighten down the way you like them to. And I'm not sure if this is a better chuck or not. Let me see. Yeah, that one works a little better. Okay, so what we do is we take this right up. Pull this all the way back. There we are. We're going to start with it right up against that. And it's going to make a hole about 1 inch or so in there. And we will see what that does. Okay. I'm going to wear a small mask right now, just in case something comes flying off. I'm going to keep this right here. And this will also help in case it does fly off for some reason. I don't think I need the steady rest in the middle. We'll see. We'll see how easy it is grinding in here. If it doesn't grind in easily, then we might get the steady rest involved. And the biggest thing to this is not pushing it too fast, letting it do its job. I can kick the speed up a little bit, but you don't want the speed too high either. Because you don't want to start burning. If you get the speed up too high, it starts to burn, or the heat gets. And what happens also is as this heats up, it expands a little bit, and so it makes it a little bit tighter in there. So you want to make sure that you're giving it plenty of time to breathe. You want to pull it out often. So this is not going to be a really, really fast process, but it is going to get us down in there. Ooh, sorry. Because you're the one who has to do the rate of entry. If you just go a little bit too fast, it kind of binds a little bit. So you got to be really careful with your speed. Now that it's fully in there, there's much less chance of it flying off of the. I mean, it still can, but it's less chance now because now it's supported from the inside also, so it's not going to hit you at this point. Also, want to make sure that your Forstner bit is sharp, and I think I'm going to put this fan on, this dust collector on, just to pick up some of the dust that's coming out of this. Now you can see it flying off here, going up into the dust collector. Yeah, I'm going to check this. It's like my connection's still good here. Okay. Pull this out. Oh, I want to make sure I can pull this out with it. Get some of this out of the way. That is pretty hot. Okay. Move my thing a little more. Okay. Let me start up again. You see how on the outside it's just a little bit off now because this is expanded. Why am I using a specific bit and not first a smaller one? Well, I could have gone with a really small one first, and then this one. I thought 1 inch is about fine for this. It's a really good question, but I don't think I need to go through it 3 times with this. So, hi Karen, my sister, by the way, Karen there. I should have said hi right away when I saw that. My sister's watching today. That's nice. So we've got Scotland, we've got Arizona, we've got what other countries have we got in here? Hi Hector. What other countries have we got represented? Or what other states? Netherlands. Nederlander. Oh, great. Oops. That was really strange. Now, I don't recommend doing this as well. If you're going to do this with green wood, you got to really be careful because green wood will bind up even more. This is pretty dry wood, but Indiana, Ohio. Sorry about your Ohio State team, but good luck next year. Sorry about your Cleveland team. Sorry about your Cincinnati team. In fact, sorry for all your football teams pretty much this year. They gave it a good shot. Not that any of the West Coast teams did anything great either. Hey, Chase. Good to see you. Hey, Johnny. You got Virginia. Cool. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I see we got like about 58 likes so far. We've been on for a little over about an hour, almost an hour and a half. Well, hour and a quarter anyway. Okay, I'm going to clear this out. And as we get near the edge, again, we're going to see that it's a little bit tighter now. Okay. Now I can slide this in a little bit more so I get more reach. Let me just see where we're at so far. I'm sorry. We are in about 2 inches. We're right about here, and we need about another 2 inches or 3 inches. We can go about another 2.5 inches. So that'll be just about our bottom spot. Okay. Everybody remember that. We're going for 2.5 inches more. Ah, okay, yeah. So the Buckeyes are there to find out how good Miami was. Is that what you're saying? With all this portal stuff and everything nowadays, who knows? To be honest with you. You think you have a good team, and then some guy says, the heck with all of you that made me look good. I'm going to go somewhere else. So I heard the Netherlands. I know Scotland. What other countries we got listed here? I'm sorry. What other countries got listed here? Oops. I need to get that out of there. It's getting a little bunched up. You want to make sure you keep that cleaned out. As you get further in, it doesn't clear out from the back end. So the hole starts to get filled up behind the blade, and you got to give it time to clear out, or you need to back it out to clear it out. Just like that. No, I haven't gotten the broken screw yet because this is inside the broken screw area. We'll be getting that broken screw, unfortunately, at some point down the road here. The really hard part about the broken screw, to be honest, is that it's not that it's a long piece; it's that it really embeds in the wood, and the wood can be really strong around it. So, like, no matter how much you dig around it, it just doesn't want to come out. Sometimes it takes a lot of cuss work to get it out of there. Be prepared. Okay, so right now we are this far in, okay, which is roughly 3 inches, a little less than 3 inches. We got another because I said we had about 4.5 or so to go in the first place. So we still got another 1.5 to go in there. Okay. You do need to be really careful because there's been a couple times where I mismeasured and I ended up with a nice viewing port through the bottom of the bowl. I know this isn't the most exciting thing to watch, but it is a learning piece, and it's a really important thing for a lot of wood turners to do this. And I'll show you another way to measure this, by the way. If you know you want to go in, say, 5 inches, for instance, you would measure where's 4.5 inches. 4.5 inches is right there between these two pieces. So somewhere between the tip there and before it gets to this bar here is where we're going to stop. And as you can see, right now, you still got this much to go. I'm going to have to move this out of the way. Get in there. There we go. This is not my favorite way of doing a bowl, by the way, because I like to be able to work my way down with through the turning. I don't like to have a big hole in the center going all the way in. I know some guys like to do it this way. They think it saves them time and all, but for me, I like the approach of turning and having supported wood going all the way in. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will. Oops. I have to clear this out again. Yeah, that's what gets in there. I know this looks more like you're machining a bowl instead of turning a bowl. But we're almost to the end here where we'll be able to go back and start turning the wood here again. Just a short minute or two. think that's fair. I'm going to stop it. Okay. All right. Now you can see, Tim, I came really close. This is really warm in here. This came really close to where that screw is. I don't know which hole the screw is in, to be honest with you. So I got one of two things I can do. I can get a wider one, and I can actually try and get down to the screw. I I use both, to be honest with you, Dennis. I use carbide. I mostly I'm a gouge person. Okay, I'm a gouge person, but there are times when you need to use whatever tool works the best. And so I don't mind using a carbide tool if I need to take very, very, very tiny cuts. But to me, a carbide tool is a scraper. That's all it is. It is not a gouge. It's not for making deep cuts. This is what I use for taking out the sides and treating the outer edge around. I didn't want to use a carbide because it takes too long to use a carbide to do that same thing. So um, I hope that helps. But that's my way of looking at it. But I will use a scraper from time to time, and I will use a carbide from time to time. In fact, I've done a whole bowl with just using the scraper before, so it can be done. All right. Playing with two different ways. I guess I will do it this way. Not my favorite thing to do, but I'm going to go ahead and just. Oops, if I can pop this out. There we go. This is very hot. That's just going to sit over here on the side and cool down for an hour. That's about how long it takes. Okay. All right. And I will take my tailstock away. And we will come over here like so. And I'm going to check make sure I'm still running true. And I am. Okay. I will do a little bit of tightening on this. Not much. I'm going to turn this off. Okay. We will now commence with this is where we pucker our rear ends a little bit because you never know what's going to happen. Okay. Good morning to all you new people that are in here. Let me put my helmet on, and we'll start making noise. I hope not too much noise. Okay. Bear with me as I enter into this. I want to see what it's going to do. I want to be very, very light at first. In fact, you mentioned the carbide. I'll show you a perfectly good example of using a carbide here. Because I can get very, very light cuts with the carbide. So it's a little bit out around at first like this. This shaking part. Until we get on the inside. There it is. Wanted to know where that screw was? We found it, I think. There it is, right there. That's the screw. So that's the other reason I want to do this, because if I'm gonna damage the blade, I want to damage this blade, not the screw, not my gouge blade. So there it is. So the question is, how do we get around it? Well, I can try turning near it And I can also try cutting from the inside here. We can kind of sneak up on it on both sides of the screw first. Okay, let's see how close I'm getting. Right there. Okay, I'm right up on the edge of it there. So I'm going to try and remove the wood from the inside next to it. And we got the wood removed right up next to it. Now, I don't know if I can get it out with that, but I'm going to try a couple different techniques here. Let me get a little hammer here to kind of persuade it. And we'll see if we can persuade that screw out of there. As I said, this is very hard wood, so the chances of persuading it out easily is kind of slim. But since I created a thin wall on the other side of it here, see, it's going to crack and come out. That is going to create a little bit of problem with the turning, but we are going to get that out of there. And there it is. Let's see if I can get it with my pliers here. There we go. So about half an inch or so of screw left on there. But that's one way of getting the screw out. I hope that was helpful to all you guys. But it's certainly not the end of the problem. It's just kind of the start of the problem, quite honestly. Drop my awl in there. Oh well, I'll get that later. That's not all. All right. So now I'm going to have a problem when I'm coming around here because I'm going to be hitting that gap that we've created. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to continue to use this carbide and hopefully not create a problem. I'm going to try and clean up this edge. And I got to say, this carbide's feeling a little bit whoa, and there it did. It came off. I was afraid it was going to catch that. It didn't damage this, so it's no harm, no foul. But I was afraid that might happen. So okay, good. Yeah, it didn't harm the tenon at all. This wood is very hot, by the way, right now from all that grinding. So I think I'm going to do one of two things here. I'm going to maybe move this blade around, see if I can find a sharper part of the blade. And if not, I'll change it out. But let's try this first. If we can't find a sharper one, I'll replace it. We may just kind of ease down into there as best we can. This is why I wouldn't want to use a gouge right now, because it may be too aggressive. And I'm going at a very slow speed through this right now. Let's see, we're just going to keep doing that. And what that does is that kind of eliminated that gouging area. Now, we still have it, it's still right here. And see if you can see it there. There it is. So every time it comes around, it's hitting that. So we're going to just kind of ease down into that a little bit. Maybe pick up the speed just a little. And I'm also going to hold this at an angle. You can hear it every time we go by it. So in a sense, we're going to kind of take it down from the top of it instead of trying to press it straight on. You're kind of undercutting that gap a little bit. By coming in from underneath it, you're kind of undercutting the gap and not allowing the gap to be the problem there. So I hope this technique is helping some of you. And yeah, so we've had to take kind of a different approach to this bowl. Let's see how we've done there now. Yeah, it's pretty much gone. And we can go back to worrying about this top. Now, I'm going to go back to my gouge here for a minute. Try and get a better defined edge. So, because you want to have an edge so you have something to bite into. Right? And you can even use your square one here, but you got to be really careful with it. And take a very light touch. I tell you, I don't like using this one. This is not my favorite tool because it is kind of, well, not scary, but it's just a little bit hard to do. I'm going to change to a different, I'm going to move the blade around. I think, there we go. I think it could be a little sharper. Well, let's see if this is a little bit better. Okay, I think we've defined the top a little bit. There is a little bit of a gapping there, and I'm not going to worry about that right now. I think we can clean that up later, but I want to get in here with the tools that we got. I'm going to go to a smaller gouge, I think. I'm going to go to this gouge. It's a little different grind on it. Well, I'll tell you, that is in-grain wood. It's so hard. There it goes again. That in-grain wood is so hard that it does not want to cut. It just does not want to cut. It is really, really hard. We may have to think of a different approach. I'm not sure what yet, but we'll think of something here. Because boy, it just takes the tiniest catch. Okay, make that come off, but man, I'm not sure how best to get in there. I guess the only thing I can do is just take a very long time with the carbide and hope for the best with that. Anybody's got any suggestions, please throw in your 2 cents. I just want to kind of keep looking at that. And we're pretty much past that now, but this is just so hard that it just doesn't want to respond even to a sharp blade. That's all it's coming off. Now I could go with a bigger. I could go with a bigger bit and take out hollow out more of it, but then that's not really turning wood anymore. That's just drilling wood. The shop shades. Shop shades. I'm trying to. Rondo, you're going to do another live today. Great. Just be aware that we are going to be doing the Sawdust Mafia here is going to be doing a tribute to Robert G at noon our time, which is about 4 hours and 15 minutes from now. So would ask you that you try not to run over into that too much because we're trying to raise some money. Hey, two dudes, nice to see you. Hey, Boondocks. Hey, Jamie, I got to see you in here. John Milwaukee shop. I that wasn't me. But you know, I am going to do a drawing for the 4,000 subscribers. So especially if we get a few more subscribers today, I will be putting together a drawing for that. And all of you that are subscribers will be eligible. So keep an eye out for that. This is where it's going to get fun. Now we're starting to get a little bit of progress. We're in about an inch of 5 inches or so we got to go in. You're giving 2 pairs of shop shades to a subscriber, Jeff. Oh, wow. Cool. That's great, Boondocks. Yeah, I wear a this safety shield over my face when I'm turning. You know, because I'm already ugly enough. I don't need to damage myself anymore at this point in my life. But yeah, wearing shades, wearing any kind of eye protection is always important. In fact, it's kind of weird. Last night I was remembering from my childhood a guy that crossed the street. He had some kind of rather strange children, but anyway, he machinist. I remember him home. And metal in his eye, and he had to go into the hospital to have them remove the metal from his eye, and that pretty much cured me as a kid. Thinking I'd have to go in and have a doctor remove metal from my eyeballs. I think sometimes having little examples like that early in life can serve you really well. And you don't get those kind of examples by looking at a computer screen all day, or at your phone. You know, I'm convinced that this thing needs to be replaced because it's just not sharp enough. Fortunately, I have some right here that I can replace it with. So I'm going to do that. It only takes a few seconds, and you'll bear with me. I think we'll see if we can't get a better cut from this. No. Right, just not so you can see what I'm doing here, but these things are always so awkward, especially for big old hands like mine. We're gonna get rid of that one. Clean that out a little bit. Put this one in there. Hopefully not lose that. I should be doing this over my magnet plate so that I can catch any falls out, but like, yeah, see, like that. That's when you want to have your magnet plate. See? Well, okay. That's my magnet bowl. And it really holds stuff down. Man, this is embarrassing on live TV, so to speak. Watching an old man trying to put a screw in. There we go. Stay. Stay. You just need those threads to grab just the smallest little amount, and it will stay on. In fact, this is even picking up, see that? It's even picking up the magnet. And that's why I was hoping the magnet would hold it on. It's not doing a good job of that at the moment. Okay. Stay. Steady. You know, this is when you call the wife and you say, honey, come here and help me do this. I can't get it on. And she comes out and she does it in like 2 seconds. Come on. I know you're agonizing with me, if you're even still watching. This has got to be funny for the rest of you. This does not want to go in that hole. Hole is clean. And it's turning. Come on. Just stay straight for 3 seconds. All I need you to do. Man, this is really difficult for some reason. And the problem with this, usually I just put them right back on. Here. Here, now I think we're getting on. There we go. Success. Finally. I had to hold my tongue in the right spot, guys. I'll make sure it's tight. Okay. There. All right. Well, thanks for bearing with me while I did that. I'm gonna throw this other one away. I know you can resharpen them, but for me, it's not worth the time and effort, quite honestly, to do it. So let's see what a fresh one does. Oh yeah, it does make some sort of a difference. So let's get you down in there a little bit. What kind of wood is this? This is juniper, I believe, and it is very, very, very hard. I kind of thought it might be oak, and it does have some characteristics of oak, but it also has the kind of smell of juniper. So I'm kind of like, yeah, I guess it is juniper, but it's extremely hard wood, and we are going into the grain. Now, here's the problem. When the wood is hot, it expands. You see how much that's a little bit off center, even though this is not off center, but you see how that's kind of wobbling in there a little bit. Now, it's not that way out here. You have to go very carefully down into that core. Ah, and that is the sound of my battery finally giving out on my helmet. That should be easy enough to replace. Boy, if it's not one thing, it's another, It's always something. All right. There we go. And we do have a crack here that we were working on the outside. That's that same crack that we were working on the outside. And apparently, it's pretty prominent on the inside. So that's another concern. This thing just kind of keeps giving us little surprises along the way. And we just keep encountering and working our way through. It is going to be a pretty tall bowl. You're actually right. It's almost a vase. And in fact, if it keeps giving me trouble, that may be what it ends up being. And here's the nice thing about a vase. You don't have to go wide all the way down in a vase. You just need to be able to hold a glass container that you can get at any florist. Put it down in here and you can hold flowers all the time, or make a bouquet and put it in there. So I don't necessarily have to make this into a bowl. If it becomes too much of a problem, that may be where it becomes. So, you have options, right? You have options. So I'm engaging that crack, and I want to be careful engaging that crack. As it goes around, I can hear that tick, 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 tick. It's right there. That's the crack. Now, I don't know how far in it goes, but apparently it's in here. So that's kind of the issue. So I can always fill that crack in. I can do a lot of things with it, actually. But I also need to make sure that this is supported rest. So I might have to get out my flat rest. To give this a little bit more support. We'll go with the long rest, I think. Well, we'll go with the short rest at first. I have two sides. I got this one here. Oh, sorry. Right about like so. You see, that gives me a nice solid rest to sit on. And it's inside the bowl here. It also doesn't allow for give, though. So one of the downsides of this is when I have when I have a crack like this, and I'm flat like this, there's no give. So if it gouges, it catches in there, it's going to just knock this right off because there's no flex in this. Can I angle the camera down? Sure. Let me see if I can. Except it's going to kind of get in my way too, so I got to be kind of careful with that. Is that? Oh, sorry guys. I guess when I was moving when I was moving that, you lost the sound too. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Let me put my microphone back on here. There we go. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, what I was saying is that base idea. Thanks, Karen, my sister to the rescue. Um, like I was saying, I think that vase idea is starting to make more appeal to me because, I mean, it's dulling these blades, and carbides usually will last a bowl or two sometimes. And this wood is so hard that it keeps dulling the edge of the carbide blade. Whoa, didn't want to do that. Yes, it's starting to appeal to me to not make this into just a bowl, but to make this into a vase, where I don't need to make this part down here all the way down to the bottom. I think that's a very appealing idea. Okay, let me do some real fine work on the top here. See if I can't kind of work that out just a little bit. I don't know if I can. Okay, straighten that out a little bit. I think I can do a little bit of sanding right here. I think we're going to go in a different direction with this because it's just not cooperating as a turning pin. I mean, look at this. That's what I'm taking off. Little bitty shavings the entire time. No, Tim, it wasn't you. It was me. Sometimes when you're on your screen here and you move things, you accidentally hit the microphone button at the same time, and that's kind of what happened here. So I apologize for that, and I should have been watching it a little more closely. But let me get some sandpaper on this and see what we can do about about kind of prettying this up a little bit. I'm gonna turn my dust collector on. See, by sanding this properly, you'll take out anything that looks like it might be slightly off-centered, so the eye won't catch it. And then I'm going to take this rest off. I'm going to take and I'm going to reverse it. Even in sanding, it's really hard. This doesn't come off easy. There. Yeah. Now that's more of a nice edge to it. Okay. There. That really makes a nice. That makes a nice piece to it. Okay. Lost a lot of our people here now. Only 27:30 in here, something like that. But we are going to finish this up. Anyway, I have every battery in my place. Running out on one at a time here today. Okay. I'll be able to do this with my other drill a little better. Maybe. Let's see. we go. Makes it nice and smooth in there. Good. Okay. I don't think we need to go any further than that. That's all the sanding we actually need to do for this one. But let me get that cleaned out inside just a little bit. We'll put some finish on this. Got a little on the outside. Worry about cleaning the rest of the stuff after you guys are gone, but want to have a clean surface for the bowl. There you go. All right, let's go to painting this thing and inside and getting ready to finish it. And we were dealing with cracks with a screw that got stuck in here. This has presented us with a lot of different issues, but we don't give up. Tim, I appreciate you being here. I hope you learned a few things. Thanks. It's great. Hey, when you start turning, give me a call or give me a contact, and we'll see if we can maybe do a one-on-one or a live together or something. I've done that with a couple people, and it's a lot of fun. So, Tim, if you're up for that, we could do a combined live or something, and even if nobody's watching, which sometimes they don't, we can kind of go through some basics with you, and be happy to work with you. But appreciate your time today. Appreciate everybody's time today. Actually, I know it's been 2.5 hours here, early in the morning on my end. It's raining cats and dogs outside. That is a really interesting inside there. And I'm going to wipe that off here in a minute. So what do you think, guys? What do you think of this? It's a pretty interesting piece. I'll get the little light down in there so you can see. That's what it looks like inside there. You can see it had a little bit of a burn look to it also, and that's from that Forstner bit. Okay. But it's a beautiful piece of wood. It really is. And I'm going to kind of buff out just a little bit. You got a lot of chatoyance here, and chatoyance is where, let's see if I can get you up over this. Chatoyance is where it picks up the light, like right in here, and gives you different shades as it goes. That's chatoyance. So, and that is usually sought after by people that appreciate wood products. My sock down in there a little bit. Okay, So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a little bit of a, you know what? That raised the grain just slightly. So I'm going to do a little 1,000 grit sanding here real quick. Just the tiniest little bit. And I'm going to reverse it. Now just get any little grains that are sprouting up and lay them back down or cut them off. Okay. It doesn't do much for the, doesn't really hurt the finish at all. Just makes it feel smoother. There we go. So after that, like this, I'm going to put a little wax on here. I'll use some weed. I'll use some feed and wax. Feed and wax is always a good one. Howard's feed and wax. Make sure you shake it well so you don't just end up with wax on the bottom. And wipe it around real quick, and then we'll turn on the speed, and we'll get a nice polish on this. Oops. And we'll do a little bit of that on the inside too here. Oops. There you go. What do you think? Is that a nice finish for it? I think that sets it off pretty well. We will loosen this, and it's set. And I'll bring the camera over here so you can kind of get a view of what it looks like. That's that. Here's that chatoyance that I was talking about. There's that crack that we filled in. The bottom still needs to be finished, of course, but you see how that works. And the top here. So now what you do is you get, like I said, you get a glass bowl that you can get from the florist shops, probably about a 3-inch one. You'll be able to put the water in there and then put your flowers in it, or you can just arrange a dry flower arrangement or whatever you want to do with it. But yeah, it gives it a lot of different purposes. And I think it came out pretty good. I may go back and just fix this there's a little tiny chipping of the right there that I might take off with some sandpaper after it's had a chance to dry. And they'll probably need another coat of the wax just to harden, but I want it to sit and harden for a day or so before I do anything with it. So this is just going to sit like this for the next day. Okay. And so what do you guys think? Looks good to you, Karen. Thank you. All right. Well, I really appreciate you all being here, and I'm not going to take up the rest of your day because I know some of you it's already noon or after, or over in Scotland it's already time to put the kiddies to bed pretty soon. So, or in the Netherlands. So, hope that you guys enjoyed this piece. Like I said, we still have some more of that right here. That'll be the next one, and we're going to have to try and attach that a little differently. It might turn a little differently. And then I also have on board this piece of birch, and you can see what the wood looks like just from here. Now I don't know if the bark is going to stay. I cannot swear that the bark will stay because, as you can see, it's kind of loose in places. It may stay. So the idea is that we'll put a tenon on here and we'll turn it, but I think most of it's going to come off because that's why I didn't want to make it into a live edge bowl because I didn't think it would stick. Otherwise, I'd have put the top here and I would have put the tenon down here. So, but it is a full piece, and so the pith is right here, and so that presents its own issues because you don't want it to crack. You don't want things to come up. Birch turns really beautifully, and I look forward to getting into that piece. I've kind of been holding off to the new year to do that piece. So, yeah. Well, thank you very much for being here today. Thanks, sis. I'll talk to you soon. And for the rest of you, I will talk to you when we come together again. We will be doing a live on Thursdays. If you subscribe, you'll always be notified when we're coming live. But may do one on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. I'm having a little surgery done on Monday, so I probably won't be turning before Thursday of next week. But we will be doing a live on Thursday, as far as I know. Okay. So we'll talk to you all then, and you have a great day.